I have come up with ideas as to how we can debate with three people. So next thing I feel like is good to learn is about refutation and engagement. So I'm going to do a little bit of a seminar on that, and then we'll get into a drill. Another thing that maybe you guys would be interested in is we could watch the first two speakers in a round of debate. I believe World's High Schools Finals. Um, if you'd like, we can also do that. I know when I first started to learn debate, experience debate, I loved watching other people do it because it's very impressive. But without further ado, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, awesome. So, refutation and engagement. Why do we refute when we're debating? Anyone have any idea? Jessica? So the judges know why our arguments are better, so we can compare our other arguments and we can win, right? Very easy way to win. So sometimes I know when I first started, I thought about rebuttal as just like oh, I can just put it at the beginning of my speech and that's good enough. Not really. Rebuttal and engagement is extremely important because I want you all to picture this, right? You guys ever played like Knockout? Maybe? No? Okay. So you have two teams, right? Each team presents three arguments, and each of the three arguments is true, and they prove it well. How can a judge decide a winner? It's really hard. It's extremely hard, right? Because there's no comparisons. And if each team has three arguments that are of equal weight and importance and they prove it well, it's almost impossible. However, when you have good rebuttal and engagement, you're able to essentially knock out some of the other team's arguments. So, and this gets very important, especially later on into debate when people you verse will have very good, nice Among Us background, when people you verse will have very good arguments. If, let's say, I am on government and I present three very strong arguments, someone else is on opposition. They have three strong arguments. However, in my speech, I successfully rebut two of their arguments. At the end of the speech, I will have three left standing and my opposition will have one. So it's pretty easy to just win that way. Like I said, when done properly, rebuttal can be round winning and or substantially increase your placement in a round. So if you're able to knock out a lot of your opponent's arguments, whether through rebuttal or just, I don't know, explaining why yours is stronger, comparing them, it can honestly just win you the debate, right? Because at the end of the day in a debate, you don't need to have the best arguments ever. You just need to be better than whoever you're versing. And if you prove why you're better than whoever you're versing in your speech, it'll get a lot easier. So rebuttal is not or should not be. Any idea how to not do rebuttal? Or what would be bad rebuttal?
Be bad if you just directly say the other person is argument is wrong without like explaining anything. Like for example, if it's like cats are better than dogs, and the other person is that cats are better, then you can't just say that. I think that cats are not better because dogs are better.
Precisely. And that'll be one of my points, but very, very good. You can't just go like, nah, that's not true. You have to prove it, right? So another thing, rebuttal is not a binary. So a binary is just like black or white, things like that, right? Rebuttal isn't only good or bad. Sometimes rebuttal can be round winning, right? And very necessary. Like, I don't know, let's say your opponent has one argument and you have the perfect thing to rebut and you can just completely destroy it. That would probably win you a round. But other times, maybe your opponent has some weak arguments. If you just make sure to comment on it and try to rebut it, maybe don't spend too much time, it can also just, I don't know, solidify a round that you were already going to win, right? Or more likely to win. Rebuttal is also not independent of your case. So, kind of tying into the thing I said before, you want to think of rebuttal as an extension of your case. So, when you're disproving an argument, you want to try to tie it back to you, right? So, example, since my opponent's argument is untrue or doesn't matter because blank reasons, you can have one, you can have multiple, our arguments stand, therefore, we should win this debate or we should win this clash. So, always try to be comparing your arguments to your opponents why theirs are worse than yours, not just worse in general, right? Just an example of why this is important. So let's say I am on government and I don't present any arguments at all. All I do is take down 2 of my opponent's arguments. And then my opponent has 3 arguments, 2 of them I've taken down. Who wins that debate? So I haven't made any arguments, but I've taken down 2 of their 3 arguments.
I think you would win.
No, surprisingly not. Because at the end of the debate, again, if you're thinking about it like a round of knockout, I don't have any arguments left standing because I didn't make any. They have 1 left standing, and even though I successfully rebutted 2 of them, then I don't know, they still win, right? So you just want to make sure that rebuttal is an extension of your case, not your whole case, right? It's just a part of it, helps make yours more convincing. Another thing, which Jessica pointed out earlier, is not to be uncharitable. So while you may hear someone argue something and in your head you're just like, oh, this is ridiculous, this is just absurd, remember that your judges are meant to be neutral. You don't want to dismiss your opponent's case without explaining yourself or even just flagging it, right? Because any arguments that are unresponded to just end up going through. They're seen as standing. So any idea how to make good rebuttal? Or at least less intuitive than what not to say. Rebuttal is or can be. Oh, Jessica, go ahead.
I'd be able to use like our own points that we got like to refute the other team's cases.
Yeah, no, very true. Along with that, rebuttal is or can be a strategic choice to make sure the best material from the opposing team is responded to or not left standing. So when you're picking what to rebut, and let's say they have 3 arguments, 2 of them are kind of and 1 of them is really good. Anyone have any idea which one you want to prioritize? Someone else other than Jessica. Thomas. I want participation.